Hello everyone, thanks for dropping by. That's the latest and greatest Lamborghini Urus, and it's a direct competitor with the Aston Martin SUV. If I had that kind of money, I don't know which one I'd get. I'd have to have a look at both of them in real life because I've not seen either of them, and naturally I'd have to have a test drive. But I ain't got that kind of money, so it's just a case of looking at pictures and maybe if I go down to London seeing one in real life. Anyway, enough about that. As you know, women are always complaining that they not get paid the same as men, but in all the jobs I've ever been on, women have been paid the same wage as me. But it's a case of not what you're paid, it's what you do with your money. Looking around, I found this. It's, as you can see, it's Lending Tree, and this was done on March this year. No, sorry, my apologies. April the 10th this year. By three people: Maggie Davis, Dan Shepherd, and Zamora Martinez White, a lady of colour. It says in some movie tropes suggest women are more willing than men to whip out their credit cards. That's just Hollywood. In one gender is one gender more financially savvy than the other? Yes. We analysed 96 spending categories and compared genders using cash based on the percentage of total expenditures. In other words, what you're spending compared with what you got coming in is what we find. And it goes, single women spend more on clothes and services than single guys. Women want lots of clothes to keep up with the latest fashion. A guy can get by with clothes that he's comfortable with for years and years and years. I'm one of them. I don't spend much on clothes at all. It says single women shell out 1.79% times more based on percentage of total expenditures on clothing, shoes and accessories for women aged 16 and older than guys spend in the same category for guys aged 16 and older. Then it drops down. On average, women spend $671 a year, or 1.73% of their wages on clothes and services, while guys only spend 0.97%. The difference is far starker when you compare that 1.73% to what men spend on clothes and services for the women in their lives. Men spend annually 0.08% of their wages, leading to a staggering 22.25% times wage gap. But women, the spending gap, but women complain about the wage gap. And then it goes on, men and boys apparel, coats, sweaters, shorts and uniforms. Well, I don't bother with that, but coats, sweaters and shorts, yes, and then women's coats, blouses, dresses and nightwear, plus underwear and all the rest of it. And he said, but that's not all. Women outspend men when it comes to personal care products and services. Our analyst found that women spend an average $596 annually on personal care products, hair and oral hygiene products and personal care appliances. Men only spend $255 per year. Difference is 2.48 times. And then it goes, women spend higher than based on expenditures in 64 of the 96 categories analysed. And it goes down. There's a gender gap in the housing market. It says women spend 1.2 times more based on owning dwellings. Notice that. On the other hand, men spend 1.12 times more on rented dwellings. I personally live in a rented dwelling, a flat. So women want a big fancy house to show off to other women, and guys are quite happy in a small rented apartment. And then, what do men spend? Think entertainment equipment. About the categories, men spend more than women based on total expenditures for other entertainment supplies, equipment and services. Now, I can attest to that personally. I'm gonna, get in this when it comes out, because this slots in between episode 3 and Rogue One. That's £50, but it's not available till the 1st of July. And when season 2 comes out, I'll be getting the twin to go with it. And get rid of that. On Thursday, I'm getting these, because I go learning how to ski, and these are for beginners, 70 flex, and I won't need to bother with the rental boots because you don't know how many pairs of feet have been into them, and the lining tends to compress the more feet that go into them. It's from Glissop, that's a French company, that's 17281, and to go with it, the insoles and the socks, even though I've got about 6-7 pairs of socks, there's no harm in getting another pair. So that's a £250 expenditure. I've also spent 120 quid on, that's the next article, on the MCU movies from Iron Man to Endgame. I've seen a few of them, but I wanted the rest to pad it out. I've got about 19 to go with the other movies in my small growing library. So that is where I personally come into this. Now, it's at the same time men spend more on alcoholic beverages than women. That's debatable. I like dark rum in coffee, so I only get a bottle of dark rum every 2 months, because it only have a bit, and that's £16 per bottle from my local Asda. Men spending £542 in total expenditure on alcohol, and women spending £257 of their total expenditures. Well, women go to clubs and want guys to buy drinks from them, so that bit is understandable. And then it goes smoking. I don't smoke, bad habit for you. Certain food and drink spending, the same, and full data, all the rest of it. Yeah, I'll naturally put these links down below, and then reining in spending tips, what you can do. Now, here's another one which is similar to that, but this was done on September the 25th last year, as opposed to, what did I say, April 10th last year. Global consumer spending relatively evenly distributed between the sexes. There are places where men spend more than women and vice versa. And then it goes on, women drive the bulk of commercial purchases, 80% of consumer spending, but with the number of women living on their own because guys don't want to date them, they're going to have to watch the money, and that could dramatically drop. 78% are primary goals for their families. That's if the woman is married. If she's single, then that is a moot point. Women tend to spend more on personal care products, health and housing, etc. that I've covered before. On average, men spend $3,434 a month, while women spend $3,237 a month. But globally, women spend $35 trillion on consumer goods. And then, despite spending more on household expenses, women earn less than men, because women, when she gets pregnant and she gives birth, she has to look after the children, so she drops out the workforce. Men are paid an average $1,219 per week, while women are paid $1,002 per week. But as I've said, all the jobs I've ever been on, women pay the same wage as me. In 29% of marriages in 2023, both spouses earn about the same. Men out to earn their wives, and 60% of women are the primary breadwinners in their family. Men are statistically like to splurge as women. That I've covered. I admit with that myself. but only these spurges are generally just one-offs. Men across all generations like to spend the most on a splurge. Naturally, women are more likely to be the primary food shoppers if they're in a marriage, but if they're single, then everyone is a primary food shopper. I'm the primary food shopper for me. Women are more likely to shop in person and online. Yes, I don't like hanging around a shop. You know what you want, in, get it, and out. I can do my weekly shop at my local Asda in less than an hour. I know where everything is, go in a shop, get it in the trolley, pay for it, gone. Women are responsible for most purchasing decisions if they're on their own. Single men spend about half of what a single woman spends on apparel and services. Men spend more on transportation, maybe if they want a decent car, but my car is 14 years old now and it's still going, so I don't need to spend money on transportation. Women spend more on healthcare, men spend more on entertainment, that I've covered in my own example. Single men spend more on leisure equipment, that will be the ski boots. Also, if you want a decent ski jacket, you can spend quite a lot. The Tony Sailor, I've seen them £1,500 Kajus ski jackets. I've seen £800 Schofeld, the Kajus's rival, that's a Bavarian company. Their jackets go for about £700 to £800. Then you got the trousers and all the rest of it. I'll also be spending money on skis once I'm comfortable going down at least a blue run after after I've gone on a holiday. That's next season. Women spend more annually on housing than men. That's because she wants to buy a house. A guy is quite happy to rent. Women have a higher time and financial burden than men. That's why they want to go after the 1%. And then how to save money, bottom line, and all the resources. Now, 6 things women spend money on men and how much it costs them. I'm not going to go through it, but this is how much it's costing a woman in a lifetime. $526,000. All ways women pay more than men. And then it goes down: personal care products, home ownership, because she wants a fancy house to one up other women. And if she can't pay it herself, she divorces her husband and takes the family home. Feminine care products, that's tampons and stuff like that. Clothes, women like lots of clothes. Beauty products, we've all seen how much beauty products, makeup women get. The US, the average woman in America spends $300,000 on makeup in her lifetime. There's an urban myth in America that American women in 1 year spent more on makeup than it costs the American taxpayer to fund NASA to send men to the moon. So that gives you an idea how much money American women are spending on makeup. They might have dropped down since those days, but that gives you an indication of how much spending money women have to spend on makeup. But their grandmothers and their great-grandmothers probably didn't have that amount, but they were managed to get a guy, whereas modern American women find that the guys don't want to go with them because they're too picky. Then healthcare, and then mounting up the costs, and then we get the $526,374 in the lifetime, and then how to avoid the pink tax and money saving tips. Now, I also, when I was looking around for these articles, came across this. This is the Independent, which is a leftish leaning British newspaper. Good job, no savings, meet the young professionals, i.e. career, with less than £1,000 in the bank. It was written by her, Helen Coffey, and she had £40,000 in the bank, And then she decided she would buy a house instead of renting a place. Within a year it was nearly all gone, and then it's just a tale of woe. And we have different other women. Grace, 40-year-old mum in a one well-paid full-time editing job, currently earns £50,000 a year. Her partner, you notice, partner, not husband, is also employed full-time. Still they struggle to put aside each month a grand total of £102 in savings. Where's all the money gone? And then more tales of woe. The only guy is this guy. He's a MP, Member of Parliament, and he could not afford his mortgage on his salary. And yada yada yada. And that's the article. But it boils down to men are more savvy with money than women. Men can get by on less money than women, and women want to get married to guys with more financial resources, because the money and resources that the women have got are not exactly covering their living expenses and their quality of life. That's why spending statistics, who spends more? It's 50-50, but men tend to earn more because they're cleverer than women in a lot of things, but women spend lots of money on stuff that a man doesn't need. And then you end up with a situation like this. They've got a full-time job, pays a lot, but they ain't got anything in the bank. And a lot of Americans are like that, I've read on the news sites. But there you go. Anyway, I think I'm on the 15, maybe 20-minute mark now, so I'll try and find something more on this tone for next week. But you know the route. But for now, you know the routine: like, dislike, comment, subscribe, etc. It's completely up to you. So until next Monday, that's it for this one. Bye bye.